Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We got a new update coming up for First Descendant, and guess what? We got to get ready for it. We got builds to go over. We got weapons. Clyde, what's everybody using? Well, we're going to go over the stuff. We're only going to go over weapons in this video, so at any point, if I say, hey, builds in this video too, no, it was way too long. I pretty much am going over every weapon that I use or I think is a popular choice for you to get on your accounts to shred upcoming content. Remember, everything in the game right now is pretty easy, so I just want to put a reminder on this. This is just stuff that I use, or I've asked people what they use. If it's not the same mods, it's okay. You can use your own stuff. You don't need to use the same stuff. If you think the stuff I'm running is trash, then it's trash. Let's get into it. All right, first up, we got good old Thundercage. Now we know bunnies just run around nonstop using Thundercage, but hey, it's good for most characters too. I think Thundercage with these new weapon cores are going to be absolutely nuts, and this is an easy accessible weapon. I'm going to go over the substats real quick. We got firearm attack, crit hit rates, crit hit damage, and weak point damage. I used to have Colossus. I took it off because I strictly just wanted to build this for overall all around. I don't really use Thundercage as much anymore, but still one of the best weapons out there. Also, here's some of the mods we're running. Basic stuff that you pretty much see on every single weapon. Pretty basic mods. I do want to point out that this mod is absolutely busted. You should always try and put out brisk. I do want to point out that brisk walk is really busted for your Thundercage to help out with movement speed on other characters, simply because you don't need real life fighter on. You don't need that extra damage, you know, to push it out on the bosses, because we all know that you should probably, instead of running around in circles on a dungeon boss, maybe just pull out a shotgun, give him the old 1-2, and he's probably going night night. I see that a lot. Bunnies just run around in circles shocking the bosses, and some bosses really don't take a lot of damage from you, so you could shoot your gun. So on other characters, if you wanted to run brisk walk in this selection here, you can, or use any other mods you want. Next up on the list, we got the big bad Enduring Legacy. Overall, my favorite weapon in the game. I just think it's so good for ad clearing, getting buffed by Enzo, killing dungeon bosses, some intercept bosses, and more. I actually love this gun so much that I actually grinded out 2 of them. And you're probably wondering why. Well, I wanted to build one for Colossus and one for all around, but I actually ended up using this one on Colossus more because I like stacking the fire damage. Now remember, mine's probably built on other players. Theirs is probably, you know, have different substats, different mods on it, but that's okay. So the reason why that I like fire attack, crit hit damage, crit hit rate, and firearm attack, I want to make sure that I get that fire attack and firearm attack as high as possible. The reason why is because of the mods that I run. I go for fire priority and fire enhancements. I've done a lot of boss testing with this weapon, and let's just say that I did gluttony before they nerfed it, and I would do 30 million damage total. Well, 21 million would be firearm attack, and then 9 million strictly just from fire damage itself. Because of the intrinsic perk of this weapon, it rips the boss's defense down to fire resistance, it buffs your firearm attack, and it just triggers the burning effect more. Again, I can't explain the tech on why I use this. I tried giving all the information I could right there. You got to just trust me on this. If you want to build yours for Colossus, go for it. But again, I think just leaning into the newer content, let's just say for the new boss that comes out, the Defiler, they're probably not going to be that hard to kill. Let's just be honest here. Difficulty's kind of. So having a weapon that does damage in the new dungeon, multiple levels, you know, it could benefit you more by building into an all-around weapon instead of a Colossus, but it's totally up to you. Again, these are the mods that I run. You can change out some different ones. You don't have to run the same thing. I do want to point out though that I did double socket the top right-hand corner so I could take off mental focus and run things like sharp precision shots if I really wanted to for a faster boss bake. Next up, we have one of the most important weapons I think that you should prepare for with this new content is the Smithereens. It just recently got a buff, and this thing is insane. As you see in the background, you're just 2-clipping Gluttony. We know that he's soft now because they nerfed him, but this shotgun is overall probably the best shotgun in the game. We all know that Executor's great as well because you're using it on Glay, but I think overall, I'm definitely going to go in the new dungeon with Smithereens in my inventory because those stupid bosses that spawn or those majors that spawn can definitely be a huge issue. So we want to just give them the old 1-2, shotgun them to the face, call it a day. Going over the sub perks, we have firearm attack, crit hit damage, Colossus damage, weak point, because we are going to use this for shotguns on the boss as well. So that's why we do leave Colossus on it. Remember, Defiler is going to be the bigger brother of Gluttony, so maybe Devourer's getting some payback with his big brother coming to get us, so maybe we could take out the kneecaps with Smithereens as well. Switching out mods that you would like is totally up to you, but this is what I've been running. I was told by the community and by multiple people, shout out to Lambo and Denny once again. Overwhelm, I guess matching Overwhelm with real life fighter, you could definitely switch out your gold mods and run something different. I guess it just benefits you to do more damage with the shotgun. So hey, I tested it on Gluttony and I'm like, oh, it's that easy where you just shotgun kneecaps and 2-clip them. So overall we approved that message. So yeah, slap these mods on, call it a day. You want to switch some out, test some things out, but Smithereens is definitely up on that S tier list. All right, next up we got the Executor. Now we all know that if you just slap this on Glay and use the infinite rounds, you can bully bosses. Right here we got the good old Molten Fortress getting absolutely spat on, but again, not really a hard combo to set up, just need some RNG so you don't hit immune phases. On the Executor, I ran firearm, crit hit damage. You could use firearm attack with Colossus. The last one's up to you. Funny story about this blue weak point is that I was doing some testing with this shotgun because I wanted to spec into weak point and I ran out of materials getting blue weak points, so we just left it. Also, I want to point out that you can use this in dungeons. So Executor and Smithereens are definitely going to be huge just for pretty much anything in the game. I just think that Executor is going to shine a little bit more on Glay. So if you don't want to build into Executor and you just want to build into Smithereens to use it all around, totally get that. But here's the mod you're going to be running with your Executor. Switch the mods up, use with what you like, copy it, switch it out, make your own build. Pretty much you're just going to be using it on Glay most of the time with her unlimited rounds, being able to burn down bosses and dungeon bosses. So hopefully this shotgun can help you out, but overall I recommend using this Smithereens. So if you want to build into one, go for that. Next up, let's talk about Clairvoyance. We all know that Viessa with the buff is pretty insane, but also having this in your hand while you're bossing or just running around dungeons, using this as a stat stick weapon when a boss comes out in a dungeon, pretty much you're just going to rip down the defenses, the chill resistant, which is amazing. So definitely want to have this thing leveled up all the way. If you don't want to invest in catalysts, you really don't need to. These are just some of the mods that I have on mine. Last mod I'd probably put here is Insight Focus or some yellow mod of your choice, just kind of up to you, just to get a little bit more damage off the weapon since you're like using it on the boss so much. So I do want to point out that with the weapon elements update on the 16th, this will get a built-in chill. So you can definitely throw on some electric on here. So it's going to have built-in chill. So maybe putting electric on it will help out as well. You can either put electric here or you can put electric on the substat. As you see here, my substats on this weapon, I didn't invest a lot of rerolls on it. But if I was you, I would roll something like this: firearm attack. You can either do the chill attack to boost that chill damage even more, Colossus, and crit hit damage. If you wanted to swap all the chill attack or electric, totally up to you. But again, you pretty much just have this weapon in your hand to rip down the defenses, so you could spam your Viessa abilities at the boss or while you're mobbing. So this is kind of up to you. I wasn't really like too fond of this weapon, but as I started playing Viessa more, definitely one of my top 3 favorite characters in the game now, so this definitely helps out your builds. Next up, we got Secret Garden. I know my substats are off right now. I'm pretty much going through my weapons and fixing all this because I have the materials now, but Secret Garden just going to be a good stat stick for your Freyna build for Contagion or any other weapon that uses tech. And Rhea is going to have tech and singular, so I think we're going to be holding Secret Garden a lot, so you should definitely invest into this. Please, for the love of God, we're going to pause this. We're going to pull up the link. Please, 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 please check the Winter Festival and see if you have any free weapon materials. If you do, you better click on the Secret Garden nanotube and take a freebie because that grind was so bad. Anyways, let's get into the substats. I would recommend crit hit damage, bonus to Colossus. Rounds per magazine should be at 12% if you're going to be using it for any alts. For Freyna, see, I use a different weapon for Freyna's alt, though. It's just kind of up to you, whatever you want. But we also have firearm attack on this as well. Again, totally up to you. Run whatever you want. Just if you do have rounds per magazine, please get 12%. With guns like Secret Garden, please make sure that you change your firing mode to on. This is going to make it a fully auto. So this thing rips like fully auto. This thing's just absolutely massive. Wanted to give you a gun build. If you were to run all 10 mods on just strictly for damage, this is a good setup. Again, I don't really use this, but I wanted to give you an example. This is more building into Freyna's alt if you wanted to use this. So remember, you're running around in Contagion, you're spreading toxic everywhere, and all of a sudden a major comes out or a dungeon boss, and you just want to hit that alt. Sharp precision shot is going to be a really good lineup for this. I put Hawkeye down here because accuracy actually affects Freyna's alt. If you wanted to just keep it simple, you could make this build strictly for her. So you have some options. Overall, great weapon. You're going to be using this on Innis Rhea. Please invest into it. So I want to go over the Freyna bossing melt one alt kind of thing you saw in Gluttony in the beginning of the video. Pretty much what you're doing is I prayed to RNG gods. I got a really low Colossus roll on this, but to get tech and Colossus is your best in slot for bossing. I wish this was 2600 Colossus, but hey, I can't get that greedy. But anyways, what we're doing is we're setting up a different weapon than the Secret Garden. So the Secret Garden could be spec'd a different way because it is using for your contagion and your other setups for her abilities, but you can use the firing fiesta tech on a general rounds weapon. So yeah, the thing with general rounds weapons is that you can put firing fiesta on, and that's why you see me activate the reload, and then as soon as I'm at about 75%, I hit Freyna's ult, I roll cancel just like you would on Lepic. Firing fiesta is proc, and so is her ult, and that's how you're ripping down bosses very quickly. Now, Denny did upload this and someone sent me the video. So I watched this, I don't know, a few days ago, and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I should tell people about it. So shout out to Denny. Pretty much running these mods on the weapon as well is going to help you with her ults. You're going to benefit from everything like your accuracy and your rounds per magazine, obviously recoil, stuff like that. So if you want to throw the stuff on, you can. Me, I didn't want to invest the catalyst. I'm strictly using it just for firing fiesta. Now, going back to Secret Garden, if your Secret Garden is spec'd the same way, most people use sharp precision shots for the ramp up, for the faster DPS per second. But to do Gluttony, I tried sharp precision shot and I could not get him down in one ult. That is where the firing fiesta comes into play and kind of gives you the extra bullets to get the kill. But overall, Secret Garden built for sharp precision shot and extra rounds in the magazine is more than perfect. But it's kind of cool tech to kind of use and learn. All right, next up we got the Voltia. This beam rifle is amazing. You're going to be doing void vessels to unlock Innis Rhea, the dog, or Keelan. Shielded enemies could be a thing in the new endgame activity as well. So this gun is definitely worth getting. You just get it from the season pass. Definitely shines when you get every single copy and it max fulled out. Some substats you could look for is crit hit damage, bonus attack to Legion of Darkness or any other Legion. Simply not speccing it just for like Colossus damage. You got firearm attack and you have chill attack. A different variant on mine, I have chill attack, I have firearm attack, and I have rounds per magazine just because I like having a longer charge. Obviously I got hip fire accuracy I got to get rid of, so one of those perks that I just showed you from the previous screenshot I could add in there. I do want to point out that this will be getting electric attack intrinsic built in on the 16th, so being able to pair chill attack with electric attack in my opinion is very important because being able to just freeze enemies with this is just cool. I've seen people have a lot of fun with this gun on Glay as well, just rip infinite rounds and just pretty much freeze everything and just shock it. One thing you could do when it has intrinsic electric, you could put like keep chill priority mod on and then put electric enhancement on, so it's going to be doing double damage. Taking advantage of that is nice, but these are the mods that I recommend running with this. I did have like a second copy to mess with. I was messing around with the high voltage plasma, but I did see with some of these mods on and really playing into more damage that I was melting enemies quicker. So run these mods or change them out wherever you like. Definitely get this gun though. Next up, we got the blue Beetle. I think this is really important for your Sharon users out there, and also anyone planning to use like singular fusion. We definitely take advantage of fusion because getting this trigger rate 100% at all times, having this weapon fully juiced up gives you really cool builds on Sharon. Also, not just her area suppression builds, but her ambush build. You're pretty much just holding this weapon in your hand. You're never really firing it, so don't waste any catalysts. Don't even reroll perks on it. If you did want to shoot this gun, you would just put, you know, the basic mods, action, reaction, weak point, crit, all that good stuff. But me personally, I don't think it's worth your time to invest into it. Just max it out, hold it in your hand, and destroy the whole map with Sharon or any other build you're using it on. Next up, we got Piercing Light. I use this on my Haley build simply because I like the big sniper boom boom damage, and nothing really survives more than a couple shots. You can use Perforator. I'm actually going to be showing that weapon in a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, Piercing Light, you're going to have that crit hit damage, firearm attack, Colossus, and make sure you have the 12% rounds per magazine. These are the mods that I run on it. Again, you can copy or switch it up, change it differently. Really doesn't matter. Just remember that your ultimate mod on this weapon can be weak point expansion, strengthened first shot if you wanted to do the reload and go for the big damage, or use special sight. Kind of just up to you. But me personally, I'm a big fan of this because you can use Haley in all different ways, and I like the sniper damage because it's kind of just easy. you build this sniper specifically for her, call it a day. All right, next up we got Peacemaker. Again, this is just like Blue Beetle. Really doesn't matter what perks you have on this. You don't even need to run any of these. The bubble Valby build is insane. What's so nice about the Peacemaker is that when you have it in your hand, it simply buffs non-attribute skill power, and you're able to just spam it. And since they're buffing Valby on January 16th, and you're going to be able to jump while you're sliding on your water, and you're going to be able to obtain MP regen while you're standing in the water, supply moisture. Build's going to be insane. We will be uploading that build I was using on Gluttony in the next video, so stay tuned. But yeah, please make sure that you get all copies so you can get that surging piece all the way maxed out. Hold it in your hand and let Valby just destroy everything in sight. All right, next up we got Python. I do want to point out here, as you see, my Python only has 1 copy, meaning I need 3 more. This is very important. I'm going to actually finish mine out because you will need your weapon to be fully juiced up all the way to put weapon cores. I think Python Glay is definitely going to become even more stronger. Also, people are using Python for other characters, but the fact that your Massacre Glay can get even stronger because Python is going to be able to get cores on it. So it's kind of just up to you. I built my Python strictly for crit damage and getting buffed by Enzo, because the only time I really use Glay is when I'm playing with Enzos. So this is kind of up to you. The perks I use is Firearm Crit Hit Rate, Colossus Damage Weak Point, and Firearm Crit Hit Damage. No Enzo in the team. I pretty much just use Electric Enhancement to rip down defenses, and then I put on a crit mod if I have an Enzo buff. So again, I'll let you guys screenshot these. These are the mods that I use, and then go back to the no Enzo setup. So I wanted to show this on screen. This is another one that I built for solo gameplay. You would have Electric Attack, Firearm Attack, Colossus, and then you could do Weak Point. Obviously I didn't roll Weak Point because I ran out of mats at the time I put this gun in my stash, but you just use Electric Attack on it to rip the defenses. Again, we're not really seeing Massacre Glaze as much in the game no more because, there's other stuff to play now. But if you ever see a return, you can definitely play into using whatever build I just showed you and use the weapon cores and make it a little stronger. We were speaking about Perforator earlier in the video. Pretty much you see a lot of Haleys running payout on their Perforator bossing builds simply because they get those extra couple shots. These are the mods that I would recommend running. Just make sure that you have rounds per magazine 12% here. Again, I don't really use this, but I just wanted to put it in the video because some people do want to use that kind of loadouts. I think until they add more health on bosses and make things a little bit more difficult, I'm just going to stick with my piercing light because that's the whole purpose of the piercing light, is for that purpose of that build. At least Perforator, I can start making other builds with it, and it's not just focusing on using it for alts. But again, I think it's a really good option. I've seen it work really well with speed kills and team kills. So hey, if your friends aren't kitted up, you can put on the payout and just rip all these shots and put up those big damage numbers. So going over all the weapons, kind of just showing you what's good, what the community uses, all these weapons I use. And I know there's more. I probably left some off the list, but again, you can't just go over everything because it's a long video. But hopefully this gets you ready for the upcoming content. You see what's good. Remember, everybody uses different stuff. Just because one mod's on a weapon doesn't mean it needs the best. I know you guys are down in the comments, but like, Clyde, if you switch this mod out, you could do 0.02654 for 3.1, carry the 6, square root of, who gives a shit? We get it. The technical Terrys are there. Don't drop those comments down below. We didn't ask you. I'm kidding. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching the video. Builds are going to be in the next one.